Welcome to Cheat Code Nutrition, the podcast where science meets strategy to help you decode your body and unlock next level health. I'm your host, Ellie Young, functional nutrition practitioner and genetic testing nerd, here to guide you through the real root causes of fatigue, stubborn weight, hormonal chaos, and mystery symptoms the traditional system shrugs off. Whether you're optimizing for longevity, performance, or just want to feel like yourself again, you're in the right place. Around here, we don't guess, we test. We use functional lab work, genetic nutrition, and a no BS approach to precision wellness that works with your body, not against it. If you're ready to ditch the one size fits all protocols and start working with your actual blueprint, this is your cheat code. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Cheat Code Nutrition. We are just a few days away from Sober October starting. And if you have tried to stop drinking before and felt like it took everything out of you, this episode is for you. We're going deeper than just have some sparkling water and some willpower, right? We're talking about how your hormones, your habits, your environment, and even your future self can make it can play a role here. And yes, there's an actual phase in your cycle, ladies, where you're scientifically more likely to reach for a drink. And I'll tell you what to do about it. But I want this to be different than what you've experienced before, because a lot of people kind of dip their toe in the water when it comes to a sober October or a dry January, or any type of challenge, right? And I don't think they truly are prepared for what a grip alcohol can actually have on your life. Because most people don't want to even go near the idea that they might have a quote unquote problem with alcohol, right? There's too much shame attached to that. There's so much ubiquitousness of alcohol in our culture, of it being just this fun, delightful activity that you should be able to enjoy responsibly without, only people who have a problem with it end up with hangovers and having it. I shouldn't say not hangovers. Everybody knows you get hangovers, but having it have a negative impact on your life where you feel like you want to stop but you can't, or you want to drink less but you can't. Like, a lot of people are afraid to even explore that. And so that's where I want to, like, take all the shame away and let a sober month just be this opportunity to explore what kind of relationship you have with alcohol and what it's actually doing to your physical health, your mental health. Um, because when you can drop the shame and honestly approach it from kind of a scientific point of view and say, what is this really doing to me? This habit that is so clearly celebrated in our culture. What is it actually providing for me? Like, let's be real. Let's cut through all of the cultural beliefs, all the cultural norms, and really investigate what it's actually doing to you. And then just see how would I feel if I didn't do it? Put all that other baggage aside and be like, what honestly would I feel like if I stopped doing it for a full month? And I mean, I don't have to be the first one to tell you this, but the benefits are profound, profound, especially if you fully commit and you don't just dip your toe in and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go 3 or 4 days and then I might have a drink on the weekend, which is usually what most people do. And to be honest, that's what I did. My first dry January is I actually drank 9 times in that whole month, which was a huge improvement for me. But I did drink. I would drink on Fridays and Saturdays essentially. But that was better because I was drinking like Monday through Sunday. Like, I basically drank every day before I really did a dry January. So that was a big improvement for me. And it was enough time to actually start shifting my behavior, shifting my mental capacity. And then when I finally quit altogether, I mean, it was like exponential, incredible, profound growth in so many areas of my life that I basically had to become a coach and start sharing it because I want this for everybody. But let's get into some tactics here. These are some of my favorite. Now, I'm going to actually use this whole month to go through an entire strategy of stopping drinking for you and all the different phases that come up throughout a sober month to I'm trying to coincide it with the timing of what might happen when you're a week into it, when you're 2 weeks into it. Because it's a journey, and you want to prepare yourself, and you need different support and different strategies and tactics at different points of your journey, because life is going to happen, and there's going to be a bajillion reasons to convince you to drink, to be like, you know what, you've been good. Oh, this gnarly thing happened in your life. This is when you should drink. No one would judge you. Go ahead. Oh, it's a fun event. Like, there are a myriad of options to drink, stemming from the benign celebratorily or I'm bored type of thing, all the way to the like self-medicating, I'm depressed and sad and this really awful thing happened to me. There's everything in between, right? So here are a couple tactics that you might not have heard before, especially if you haven't listened to me, that can be really profound and really powerful, and to start getting your brain thinking about it in a different way than just like, I'm not going to do this behavior. I'm not going to drink and it's going to be miserable, right? So number one, and this is one nobody does, but it's truly super powerful. And that is visualize yourself alcohol-free and loving life. The theme here is that you are connecting to a future self who is actually enjoying the benefits of an alcohol-free life. And the reason why this is so powerful is that when we connect to the actual emotion, the feeling, the actual neurochemistry of what it feels like to actually be this person who is free of alcohol, who loves their life, who is sleeping well, who is able to stick to their commitments, who's eating better, who's working out more, all because alcohol is no longer a part of their life. Their relationships are healthier, their work productivity is healthier, they're more creative, everything blossoms when you're alcohol free. And when you actually can connect to that and imagine it and start sampling that neurochemistry, your brain not only starts to build a neural pathway to that future possibility, but it's the sampling of the neurochemistry is what actually strengthens that pathway. Those emotions actually help to build the pathway and help to strengthen it. So visualization is incredibly powerful because, you see pro athletes do it. You see, big, powerful speakers. They go out and they're like, okay, I'm going to practice. It's rehearsing. You are building a pathway in your brain. You are rehearsing what it feels like to be an alcohol-free person. This helps you actually feel the gain rather than feeling the lack, right? To feel what most people, when they think about stopping drinking, they focus solely on what it feels like to not drink. They're like, oh, it's going to be so awkward. Oh my gosh, I'm going to miss out. It's going to be boring. It's going to be awkward, right? And they literally only visualize that. What am I going to do? How am I going to behave? Oh my gosh, this sucks. Instead of rehearsing, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to go to sleep early. I'm going to not be slurring my words and turning my face bright red and having half-mass eyes and, you know, wondering what I said to people. Like, imagine all of the positives that if you've been listening to this podcast, I know there's a part of you that wants a little taste of this. And so just imagine what it's going to be like to wake up with clear eyes, good skin, having slept all night. I mean, going alcohol free is the best anti-aging hack there is out there. If you could bottle the health benefits of not drinking for a year and give it to somebody, it would be the best selling product ever, right? And you don't even have to go a year to start benefiting. If you go 30 days without drinking alcohol, you are going to feel it. You are going to see it. Everyone's going to start asking, what are you doing differently? It is an absolute game changer when it comes to your health. And so the goal with visualization isn't to just stop drinking. It's to actually stop wanting to. And this is all in these psychological hacks. Again, it's how your brain works. When whatever we focus on, our brain starts to kind of develop a bias for that, right? It starts to filter in information that supports whatever you're imagining, right? So if you can imagine yourself having a good time, having incredible health, having all of these benefits of alcohol free, your brain is going to start looking for evidence to support that versus supporting the idea that you're miserable, you're lonely, you're bored, and there's no joy in your life because you can't drink. So whatever you are telling yourself about not drinking for this month, for this week, for this day, whatever the conversation you're having with yourself, your brain is looking to support that. So you have to choose carefully how you are crafting the messages around not drinking in your brain. You have to pump yourself up. You have to listen to podcasts. You have to listen to different quit lit books and get yourself in the supportive mindset that this is an incredible and powerful thing to do. This is the identity level shift that actually makes this change sustainable. And if you just are hearing my words and you're like, cool, okay, I'm not going to, I'll do it, but I won't do it. Like most people hear this concept and then they don't actually do it. So I want you to pause this podcast right now and to take literally 1 minute, close your eyes, and imagine what it would feel like to wake up 30 days alcohol free. How proud of yourself you will be. How incredible you will feel having gone that long without toxifying your liver, your brain, your body. It will feel incredible. Give yourself a sampling of that. Wow, how good would that feel, right? So pause it right now. Go do it. Remember, you are not depriving yourself. You are meeting the very best version of yourself. Okay? All right, pause it. And then when you come back, we'll jump into the planning your alcohol-free break according to your cycle. I know this isn't like a magical, perfect thing that's going to line up for everybody, but I want you to have awareness around your hormonal cycle, your period, because it is really going to dictate how motivated you are throughout the month, your ability to stick to it, where your cravings are coming from, how likely you are to like want to self-medicate, all this kind of stuff, right? So, if you are a man or a non-cycling woman, you can skip over this part, but it is super interesting. And if you want to, if you are a man, you want to help your wife or girlfriend or whoever, sister, mother, listen, this stuff is super powerful information. So, let's talk about all the different phases of the cycle. We've got our menstrual phase. That's when you're on your period. You've got your follicular phase. That's when hormones are starting to build. And then you've got your ovulation phase. That is when all the hormones are peaking in tandem and we are most likely to get pregnant, right? And so when this is happening during ovulation, dopamine is super, how do I say this? Estrogen makes you more susceptible and more sensitive to dopamine. This is an evolutionary design, right? Because it wants to make us more receptive to pleasure, right? So that we want to mate. Testosterone actually makes us have more drive, more sexual drive, right? And again, this is so we procreate, so we have children. But what it does for our drinking behavior is it actually makes you crave more. You are more likely to get drunker quicker when you're ovulating, and you are much more likely to pursue pleasure. So cravings to drink around ovulation are higher. That idea that, kind of wanting to like go a little crazy and be a little wild, this happens more for women when they are ovulating, okay? You are craving more rewards because you are more sensitive to dopamine, right? So pay attention to that. Look at the calendar. Pay attention to when you're going to be ovulating and go, I might be a little more likely to crave booze. I'm going to try to not put myself in a situation that is super tempting during that phase, right? And just be awareness of you. Like, oh my gosh, how interesting. Okay. So again, this is just awareness. This is looking ahead at the month ahead and like planning for the weather, right? That's the analogy I love to use with your cycle is like you're looking, you wouldn't go on vacation, right? And not look at the weather. That you'd be like, oh, how do I need to pack for this? How do I need to dress, right? That's the month ahead you're going to have with this alcohol-free break. I want you to pay attention to your cycle, look at your hormonal weather and go, how can I best prepare myself for these different phases? Okay. I know I'm going to crave more when I'm ovulating. How can I make sure I'm not in like the ultimate temptation situation during that time, right? The next phase that is a little more vulnerable for women is their late luteal phase. This is right before their period. And that is because your hormones are starting to drop off, and this can create moodiness, some, discomfort hormonally, you're PMSy. This is when we're more likely to drink to cope, more of like a self-medicating type of drinking. Oh, I'm sad. I need a glass of wine. Oh, I'm frustrated. I'm fed up with my family, with work, whatever it is, we're a little more sensitive to this phase and using alcohol to get by, right? So again, strategic tip: plan your sober October. If you can start um, by just tracking your cycle and noting in your calendar, these are going to be the days when I'm most vulnerable. And that way you just pay attention and you can, as best as you can, take really good care of yourself during the phases when you're more vulnerable and not expose yourself to a bunch of cues that are going to make it really hard on your brain to abstain, right? Um, okay. So next up is, this kind of leads me right into the next section, is minding your environment. Okay. So this is all about the cue, craving, response, reward loop. So this is, James Clear. This is the classic habit loop, right? You can interrupt your behavior at any stage of this little habit loop and try to steer your ship to a different place, right? So we are not going to rely on willpower. We are actually going to control our cues as best as we can by paying attention to the environments that we are placing ourselves in. So cue is the very first part of the habit loop cycle. And if you really want to make it easy on your brain, you try to remove as many drinking cues as possible. Now, this is a lot easier said than done, and this is why a lot of people hermit crab out when they're trying to be alcohol free. And I did this for sure, because I wanted to avoid temptation, right? I didn't like the feeling of being in places that were cueing me to drink and me being like, I'm not going to drink. I don't want to drink, right? This, by the way, gets so much easier over time and so much easier with visualization and taking care of my body and brain so that I don't show up to a place really vulnerable and like being like, oh, I'm pissed off, I'm hormonal, and I didn't eat all day. And now I'm like, oh, I want to fucking drink, right? So this is all part of it. This is all part of the game. So we want to make sure you are shifting your environment so that you're changing that habit loop situation. So change up your Friday night routine. If you have to avoid certain people, certain places, especially in your trigger window, do that and remind yourself it is temporary, okay? You want to swap in supportive social time or solo rituals. It is okay. It is okay to hermit crab out during this phase. If you know for sure it's going to be too uncomfortable to put yourself in a drinking environment, which, let's be honest, how many environments aren't drinking environments? There aren't very many. Really, honestly, I have yet to be to a social event that isn't built around drinking in some shape or form, right? The only thing that I do socially that doesn't involve drinking is working out with my friends. And we go for early morning runs. But it's so amazing that even that world tries to work in alcohol, right? Like if you sign up for a race, what do you do immediately following a race? You drink, right? So again, we want to just be mindful of these triggers because our brain loves efficiency. It all goes back to science, guys. It all goes back to how our brains work. First we're visualizing because we're trying to build a new neural pathway of a non-drinker. And then we are trying to interrupt the neural pathway that is driving you to drinking because the brain, it wants to go on autopilot. It wants to check out and be like, oh, I recognize that cue. When I'm cued on a Friday night by this place and these people and this environment, I just go on autopilot and I send her down the drinking road, right? So we are trying to hack that. The brain wants to check out. It wants to do things that are really easy, frictionless, right? And if it recognizes something that you've done a million times over, it's going to put you on that pathway like clockwork. It's not going to think about it. It's going to be like, oop, this is the easy button. I get to just put her on this pathway and forget about that. So many people talk to me about how their drinking feels automatic, how they find themselves in these situations and they didn't even think about it. They're like, oh my God, I just walked over to the fridge and I just opened it up and pulled out a bottle of wine without even thinking about it. Or they find themselves driving to the liquor store and just pulling over without even thinking about it, right? The brain is wired to look for these cues so that it can put you on autopilot. So you have to pay attention and go, how can I minimize the amount of things that are going to cue me to drink? And it's easier said than done because we live in a very drink heavy world. But the more you can create supportive environments and cue a new behavior. It's not enough to just stop the old behavior. We want to replace it. We want to say, okay, instead of, for me, it was like that witching hour around, cooking dinner for the kids. I used to just like want to pour myself a drink when I was cooking dinner for the kids. I have to get through these dinner hours, get through the bedtime routine before I get to relax. And I would start drinking. Right. And so instead, I decided to take my dog for a walk, a 10-minute walk around my neighborhood at sunset, and just enjoy all of the different senses that come alive when I'd go outside, the sunset, the crisp air, as many things you can do to trigger dopamine on all five senses. Get yourself out of that habit loop. It can be so powerful to, like, once you feel that cue coming on, is get out of it. Immediately change your environment. Go to a different place, experience something different, send your brain different messages. Okay. And sometimes as clunky as hell, you're just like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I'm just going to get out of here without even thinking about it. Just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off into a different direction. I'm going through so many different tactics right here. If you've worked with me in my coaching and listened to these podcasts, maybe you're picking up on a few of them, but I'm trying to get through a lot right now. But the environment is so critical. And just, like to use this analogy too about a plant. If you are a plant, right? And you're trying to change and you're trying to grow and you're trying to blossom, right? You can't plant yourself in the shade and expect to grow, right? So if you are trying to be a non-drinker, you cannot plant yourself in these environments where drinkers are. You have to plant yourself someplace different. Where do non-drinkers go? Where can I be a non-drinker? Right? And don't get me wrong, eventually, over time, you will get to a place where you can go to a bar, you can go to these events, you can go to these things and be completely comfortable alcohol-free. But in the beginning, if you're just trying to do a sober October and you don't want to make it really, really hard on yourself, really, really hard on your brain, don't go to those places. Easy peasy. Just don't do it, right? All right, next up, stock your fridge with all of the incredible options there are for non-alcoholic beverages. You can replace the beverage in the drinking ritual. You have to go beyond water. There are so many cool functional beverages. I actually did a whole episode on functional, or maybe it was a Instagram thing I did. I can't remember now, but let's talk about what functional beverages are. They are adaptogens. Adaptogens are just naturally occurring plant compounds that literally work on stress in your body. They help to alleviate stress. That is often what we're after when we're drinking, is trying to chill out, trying to calm ourselves, right? Or maybe you're looking for a little bit of up or a little bit of fun, a little bit of excitement. That's nootropics. Those are different supplements that actually work on the brain, right? Things like theanine, things like green tea extract, all of the different functional mushrooms like lion's mane, chaga, all these things, they work on the brain. Um, and they can make you feel great without a hangover. I also love electrolytes. I do a lot of fun electrolyte mocktails. They taste salty. You can put a fun little salted rim on your glass. There are a bajillion alcohol-free spirits, and you will notice most of them include adaptogens, nootropics, magnesium. A lot of them do that because it helps calm you, and it's great um, overall for your overall health. So pro tip, prep your favorite alcohol-free drinks for events. Pack them with you wherever you go. Keep them on the ready. Don't keep the wine in your fridge and keep your beers stocked in the fridge. Like, you have to remove that stuff and fill it with your non-alcoholic options. This also keeps your hands busy when you're out and about in a drinking environment. As long as you have your mocktail, you're good to go. You avoid all those awkward situations. As long as you have a drink in your hand, most people don't even notice that it's not alcohol, right? And again, these things are going to support your nervous system. They're going to support your hormones, support your overall health. Okay. Last but not least, I always recommend having a script ready. A thing that you can say quickly, easily, avoid awkwardness, and no BS, right? People will trigger you. People will ask weird questions. Some people are more provocative than others. And you don't want to let someone's random line of questioning to tip the scales. Because sometimes all our brain is looking for is just the right thing at the right time to be like, well, I guess I'm not good. I guess I'm going to drink, right? The right excuse. Our brain is always looking for one of those reasons, right? One of those beliefs we have about alcohol to tip us back into that mode. Our brain again is looking for that easy button of like, oh, we recognize this. Let's just go. Let's do that, right? So practice what you're saying. Practice your no thanks language. I'm doing sober October and I'm feeling really great. I'm going to stick with it. Ooh, I've got a health goal right now and I'm loving it. I'm loving how I'm sleeping. I'm loving how I'm feeling. I'm sticking with it, right? Rehearse it to avoid that awkwardness and close the mental door. Do not leave it open, cracked open for negotiation. Permanently close it. I am not drinking tonight. You don't have to even say you're doing it for the whole month. Just say, I'm not drinking tonight. This is liberating for the brain, right? When you commit and you say, I'm not drinking tonight, and you allow your brain to start exploring all the other things you can do, instead of focusing on what you can't do. Again, this goes back to that visualization. What else am I going to do? What amazing other things can I do with my brain now that I'm not toxifying it? Now that I'm not going to be drunk, I can drive. I can do all sorts of amazing things, right? This is a liberating energy of sticking to your choice. Okay? So I covered a lot of things today. It was a lot, but I have so much more. I love talking about this. This was my original role as an alcohol-free life coach. So next week, we're going to go deeper into how to make this next phase easier. The first week into Sober October, we'll cover decision-making fatigue, staying above your 50% energy line, and how your genes, yes, the ones tied to dopamine and serotonin, can actually influence your drinking habits. This is next level support and you don't want to miss it. So tune in next week. And if you want help staying alcohol free, there's a couple things you can do. One, join my community online. I send out an awesome 321 Heal newsletter every week with all sorts of tips around your health. I am a integrative and functional nutritionist. So much of this is about holistic healing, understanding your hormones, understanding the impact alcohol has on everything and how to break free of that so you can start your healing journey. But if you're interested in that, you can always book a free call with me. Go to mycheatcodenutrition.com and explore my one-on-one coaching options. And anytime you email me or DM me on Instagram, you can set up a free call and we can chat about all the different options you have. We'll use functional nutrition, cycle syncing, and gene testing to create a custom strategy that works with your body, not against it. All right. And as always, I am with you. You got this. Thanks for tuning in to Cheat Code Nutrition. If today's episode sparked some curiosity about what your genes are trying to tell you, grab my free guide, 5 Genes You Should Know to Optimize Your Health. It's linked for you in the show notes. And if you're ready to skip the guesswork and start working with your actual blueprint, check out my genetic nutrition coaching offer, also linked in the show notes. Your next level of health might just be one test away. Until next time, stay curious, stay nourished, and don't forget, your body's not broken. It just speaks a different language. Let's learn to speak it fluently.